I desperately need to organize my craft room, so I'm off to the thrift store and the antique store to find really unconventional ways to store my craft supplies, my tools, and of course, all of my miniatures. Hello, my crafty dolls. Welcome to my craft room. I am Grandma Katie, and I am so glad you're here because today I'm taking just a short break from creating Dollhouse Miniatures to clean and organize this craft room. And I thought it would be super fun if you came along with me. Here is my messy craft room, my crafty dolls. We are going to be fully bonded after this cleanup because I am revealing my absolute filth. And I'm not really a dirty person. I just have a lot of stuff. I don't know where to put it stuff. I'll put it away later stuff. I have grandkids stuff. I can't throw it away stuff because I can make something out of this stuff. I just have too much stuff. And I know you're just like me because who wants to clean when you could be crafting? But this room is really getting out of hand, so I need to get organized so I can get back to the miniature things in life. Okay, so the number one reason this craft room is so messy and gotten out of hand is I have been so busy building my inventory over in my Etsy shop. I opened my Etsy shop with 7 listings and now I'm up to 37. And if you're new here, I design and create digital printable miniatures for your dollhouse. You simply go to my Etsy shop. I have a link right in my bio. You can download your favorite design and print it out. And there are so many fun projects to put together. Then you come right back here to this channel and I have fun tutorials of some of my designs along with tips and tricks for your dollhouse. So please hit that subscribe button. I would absolutely love to have you back. And now that I'm cleaning this room, I can finally get back to making new videos and designing more miniatures. And this episode is a two-parter. So today we are going to be going shopping to the antique store. We're going to go to the thrift store. We're going to go to Walmart. We're going to hit up Amazon. And finally, I'm going to be digging into my own garbage for items to organize my craft room. So part 2, I'm going to give you a full tour of the finished room, why I chose the colors I did, and how everything came together. So you don't want to miss part 2. Before we even start, I want to show you 3 areas of my craft room that I want to focus on. First is my craft cabinet that has turned into a dumping ground for all my craft tools that I use all the time. They just end up on top of it. So I need to find a better way to store my tools. And I also need to get rid of that TV. I don't use it anymore. Second, I want to put more storage on the wall behind my desk. I think it's going to be a great place to put my craft tools. I can see them and get them more easily. And third, I really need a table or a cabinet against this wall. This has really become another dumping ground of stuff I don't know where to put. So let's get this room cleaned and cleared out so we can start planning our new craft room. Okay, now that our room is completely clean, we are going to need some inspiration. So I went over to Pinterest and here are 2 really nice pictures of craft rooms. You can see they're very clean and organized. I would get a ton of stuff done in these rooms, but I hate to say it, they're kind of boring and I want something unique. And since I love old things, I have a ton of antiques. I really just want my room to look like an antique store because I love antique stores. And so that is my inspiration. What do you guys think? I think it's going to work out really great. Honestly, my craft room is already on its way to looking like my favorite antique store. I really want my room to feel warm and cozy while I craft and not cold and manufactured like it came right out of a box. I want my room to be filled with things that I've collected for so many years, things that I love, things that will really give my craft room character. So when you walk in, the whole room feels like its own craft project. The room itself is art. Even the containers that hold my tools and my craft supplies, the old jars and old rusty cans, they all have a story. And even down to how I display my crafts, to the old vintage box it's in, or the old frame it's in. I want it to tell a story. Now, of course, everything has to be functional and practical, but it has to be charming. There are going to be no plastic bins on wheels allowed. I'm really inspired by all the craft items and tools and jars. So I really want a wall full of shelves to display those jars. So I can just look up and see exactly what I have. And I think the wall over my desk is going to be perfect. So before I even go shopping, I want to hang the shelves so I can get a rough idea as to how many jars I'm going to need, what sizes, and take some measurements because, of course, we are going to buy other things and we want to make sure those new things fit. I went over to Amazon and I bought some floating shelves, and they come in all different sizes and colors. So I bought 5 new white shelves because they're going to go with what I already have. No sense in wasting money on all new shelves. You got to work with what you have. Also, the white shelves will really blend away into the wall, and so the jars are really going to be highlighted. And I also made sure the shelves were wide enough to maximize space. So I can put 2 rows of jars. And also, I want to make sure they're deep enough so I can display books. I had my sweet handyman put up my shelves for me, Grandpa Kitty. He is so good at the technical things, whereas I am really good at the pretty things. So that makes us a really good team. But we did run into a bit of a problem. I really wanted to move the existing shelves over to put up my 2 new shelves, but the old shelves left these giant holes in the wall. So it was either put it back and reconfigure or spend the day filling and painting holes. Okay, that is really boring crafting. Who wants to spend the day filling holes? I have crafting to do. So the shelf went back, and then I had to replan the wall, but no worries, we'll make it work. As Bob Ross would say, it was a happy little accident. And here is the finished shelf wall. I could maybe use more shelves, but I think this is going to work for now. I think once I put the jars up and fill the gaps with pictures, it's going to look great. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I need more shelves? At least I have room to grow. So before we even go shopping, I want to have a clear plan of what I need to buy and what I have room for the 3 areas that I want to focus on. So I'm definitely going to be taking measurements, and then I'm going to look at my inspiration, and then I'm going to be picking out my favorite ideas. The top of my craft cabinet will be a really good place to put old boxes for storage. I've always wanted one of those spice racks or a spice box. I think the small drawers are perfect for holding small craft supplies, so I'm going to be on the lookout for one of those. Or maybe some small jewelry boxes would be really cute, or really any unique box I come across. I could really use a small, narrow table or a small dresser for this wall for some storage. And what I really need is a cabinet to store all of my Dollhouse miniatures. Right now, I have them stored in these really ugly plastic bins made for nuts and bolts. So I'm thinking of an old cabinet that once held spools of thread. This would be a much more charming box to hold my tiny treasures. And I know I'm going to find one at the antique store. I just hope it's not too expensive. All right, and here is my brand new shelf wall, and I'm going to be on the lookout for some mason jars and some really old cans and just really cool, unique boxes for storage. Because the number one problem I have is that I never know what I have. I have things hidden in the drawers, I forget about them. So now I can just look up at my wall and I can find it a lot easier. Okay, and now since I had to reconfigure my shelves, I am left with this really goofy gap here. So now we need something to fill it, and that is such a shame. So I'm gonna quickly measure it before I go shopping. In secret, I already own something really cute as a backup plan, but maybe I'll find something better. You never know. The first stop on our shopping trip is my absolute favorite antique mall. Now, I am not an antique expert at all. I don't buy things for investment or to fulfill a collection. I really don't care about the stuff like that. I just love old things. Now, if you are intimidated by antique stores, you need to go to an antique mall. They're large, you can really get lost, no one is ever going to bother you. They have many booths rented by different people. So you're really going to get a variety of collections. So I'm going to have a really good chance of finding that spool cabinet I'm looking for and that spice rack here. Even though I have a really clear agenda, I got organized on my mind. I just want to go and relax and browse. My number one tip when you're shopping is just buy what you like. If you buy what you like, it'll all go together. Just don't overthink it. And then suddenly you would have discovered your unique style. All right, let's go shopping and let's find some things to organize my craft room. I am on the lookout for some antique jars for my wall, and there is never a shortage of jars here at the antique store. So I'm looking for large jars to hold bigger things and some smaller jars so I can hold my little things. All right, you will always find antique mason jars here at the antique store, and these are about $7 to $9 a piece. But I'm only going to buy a few of these. This is a really cool trick. I'm only going to buy a few, and then I'm going to fill in the gap with cheap ones from the thrift store, and then I'm going to buy new mason jars. Otherwise, it's just going to get too expensive. And this will give the illusion that all the jars are antique. I have been looking for one of these for so long, and actually, they're really popular right now. It's an old typeset drawer from a printer shop. It has all these different size tiny little cubbies, and it still has the letters written in it. Still has the drawer pull with the font name on it, which I love. It gives it that really cool historic reference. So I'm going to hang this on my wall and I'm going to display my favorite miniatures. And it's only $30. Okay, now I'm on the lookout for some very unique storage containers. I found this really cool old milk basket. Maybe I can put some fabric in it. I really like this old wooden box. Again, I am just looking for things I like. And that's when I spotted this old toolbox. I bet I can store my acrylic craft paint in. I got this really weird old shelf slash bin, and I think I'm gonna hang this on my shelf wall, kind of fill in those gaps. And finally, I picked up this old tennis ball can because it reminded me of my dog Holly. She loves her tennis balls, and it's also perfect for storing pencils. So I think this is going to work, and it's kind of quirky. I also picked up this little cheese box, and I don't know what it is, but I love things with lettering on them. I could put all kinds of things in here, so let's take this home and see what we can do with it. Okay, every craft room needs a garbage can, and this galvanized bucket is going to give my dirty garbage a little bit of vintage flair. And it still has this label on it, and it's only $12. I am never going to find a new bucket like this in a store for under $25. I have to have it. I'm just going to run over to my favorite booths and take a sneak peek at the Dollhouse furniture and see if there's anything new. And it doesn't look like it, so I'm going to go and look for that spool cabinet I'm looking for. I knew I would find the spool cabinet here at the antique store. I've always wanted one to store my miniatures. This one is absolutely perfect. It has these shallow drawers and little compartments. It's like it was just made for miniatures. I absolutely have to have it. And it's only $100. And look, I found this really cute mini dresser that I absolutely love, but look at the price tag. It's $145. I think I'm going to pass on this one. Yikes, that is very expensive. I still need that spice rack that I've been looking for, and actually, the store has a lot of them. So now it's just a matter of finding my favorite. So I picked this one because it was the cheapest and it was only $30, probably because it has a crack on the back. But that's okay. I am going to give it a very happy home. And just before I left the store, I spotted this mini cabinet in the back. It is so cute. It has glass doors and shelves at the top. I can put my craft supplies there. It has lower cabinets with really old hardware, and it passes the no musty smell test. So that's a bonus. And it's only $125. And it says it's a child's cabinet, maybe from an old play kitchen. It looks handmade. It's the perfect size. You know I'm buying this. I'm taking it home. Time to check out. The antique store is the most expensive stop on our trip today, so it's a good thing I saved 10% off with my frequent buyer's card. And now we're off to the thrift store. And here I'm going to be looking for baskets, unique cups, and of course, mason jars. So I'm going to be looking for unique jars here. And I really don't want my jars to match. Maybe you do, and that's just fine. I personally want the jars to look like a random collection. And now remember, these cheaper jars are going to be mixed in with my antique jars. So that's going to give the illusion that they're all antique without the price. Sometimes you get lucky and you spot a real antique mason jar. This one even has the original lid, so I'm definitely going to pick this one up. I spotted this gallon-sized mason jar. I know that these are about $20 in the store, and this one is only $7, so I'm going to have fun with this. Now I'm at Walmart, and I'm in the kitchen section, and here you're going to find a ton of glass containers for cheap. Let's take a look over by the mason jars. I picked up a case of 12 of these mini jars for under $10. These mini mason jars are super cute, but they're a little bit more pricey. They're about $8 for four. I picked up these larger half-gallon mason jars. There's 6 in a pack for only $14. And they're nice and big. You can really put a lot of things in here. We can put larger things in here. So really our money is going to go a lot further with these jars. These jars are really neat. These are fluted. They're more of a decorative mason jar, so they're more expensive. They're 4 for $14. But our money can go a long way here. Just look at the box. We can make drinks, a terrarium. We can use it as a vase. And now we can add craft storage to the list. All right, next I'm in the kitchen and I'm going through the garbage. I've got some different size tin cans. I got 3 sizes here. Got a pasta jar, which is a larger size. I have a smaller salsa jar, salsa verde. This is my favorite stuff if you love salsa verde. And my mother-in-law gave me a whole bunch of these. These had peaches in them. It's a really cute jar. So I think all of these jars and tin cans, we're going to do some cool crafting, and those are going to look really cute on our organization wall. Okay, we need to get the labels off our jars. We're going to grab some baking soda, 100+ uses, they ain't kidding. I am just going to fill up my sink with some water and put about 2 tablespoons of baking soda in your water. We're going to put our jars in there, and that is going to take the labels off. We're going to soak them for about 30 minutes. I'm going to throw those thrift items right in there as well, get those labels off. And anything that needs to be clean, just throw that right in there. That'll get it really nice and clean. So we're going to let those soak for about 30 minutes, and those labels should come right off. And if you're using the lids for your jars, throw these in. That's going to help get that odor out of the lids. So throw those in there too. And we're going to wait 30 minutes. And just after 30 minutes, look, our labels are floating to the top. Even those stubborn thrift store labels gone. Look at that. Comes right off. No scrubbing, so we have time to do more crafting. Okay, we got all our garbage cleaned up, the labels off. Now we're going to craft and do decoupage. All right, now it's time to make trash into treasure with my glass jars from the garbage. I just want to mention this particular jar, with the label on it was really, really stubborn. So I did soak it, but I did have to take some steel wool to get the rest of that glue residue off. So otherwise, that is a great technique. That baking soda gets those labels off very, very well. So Mod Podge, I'm sure you've seen this. This is the best glue to use when you're decoupaging. And it comes in different finishes. It comes in flat, gloss, or satin. I'm using the satin. The best paper to use is really thin tissue paper. You can use just plain tissue paper. Napkins are the best. They come in all different, patterns and colors. The only problem with napkins is when you buy them, they're all the same. They're all the same. I happened to find these on Amazon, and they're just for decoupaging. So this is a pack of 20, and look, they're all different. So each napkin is a different pattern. So perfect for us crafters. So you can buy a pack of 20 and get a nice variety. So all different patterns. I got these floral ones, and then I picked up these blue ones. Again, they're all different. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with those. I just want to give you a few decoupage tips. So when you're working with the napkins, you want to make sure you take the back part off and peel away the front. If you want to use the lids, you really need to paint the tops of these because you're going to see those labels on there. So you can paint it with some chalk paint, any color you want. If you decoupage over the top of that, then you'll see that nice paint underneath. And when you're using your glue, you really want to use a really nice soft brush. So you're not going to be ripping the paper when you're gluing it on. Okay, I am going to be decoupaging one of my cans, and before I do that, I am going to paint the outside first. So you're going to see me doing that. And that's so you're not going to see that silver underneath it. Now for the last 2 cans, I am just going to use some scrapbook paper, and I'm going to just simply wrap and hot glue the paper onto my can. I also have some leftover Dollhouse wallpaper too, so I can recycle and use some of this up too. All right, cue the decoupage montage. All right, guys, I have to quickly show you my finished projects. And I have not decoupaged in so long, probably not since high school. So it was fun to get back to it. It is so fun. If you haven't done it in a while, you need to get back to it. As I was doing this, I discovered a few things that I want to share with you, some further tips. First tip is when you are decoupaging and you are handling your jar, you always want to keep glue on your fingertips because otherwise your fingertips are going to get tacky, the jar is going to get tacky, and you're going to rip off that tissue paper. So you don't want that. Also, when you're painting your jar, make sure you seal the whole thing with your decoupage so your paint doesn't chip. And I experimented with a few techniques. Some of the jars I painted white so you can really see the paper. And here, this one I didn't. So it's very, very translucent. So depending on what kind of look you want, you can have all different kind of looks. I also painted the can so that if you don't paint the can, it's just going to look kind of funny. So depending on your look, it doesn't matter. I also did that with the lids. So this lid, I did not paint, so it's black. So you can really kind of see that black. I think it looks kind of cool. And this one, I painted. So again, depending on your look, it doesn't really matter. Have fun with it, experiment. So the ones with the lids, I'm just going to keep the jar clear so I can fill it up with some cool things, maybe some buttons, some tools, and I'm just going to put the lid on top so you can see what's in it. And yes, you should buy something just for the jar. Who cares what it tastes like? You need a cute jar. And then with the jars that are just open on the top, I'm just going to put my tools in. It's going to look so cute. Can't wait. Yeah, I think this one's my favorite. This one really turned out cute. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do is grab things I already have around my house. And this is a great way to refresh your rooms at no cost. I do this trick all the time. I take things from other rooms and I swap them out and I rearrange. Or what I do is I have a lot of stuff, so then I pack them away for a while and then bring them back out. And it's kind of like Christmas because I can never remember what I have. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember that thing. Cool, I'm going to put this back out. Now this shelf I've had packed away for over 20 years before we moved into this house. And you can tell by all the dust. So definitely going to be using this. I also have this sewing table that just keeps rotating from room to room. I think these small drawers are going to be perfect for all my miniatures. Okay, I think I have enough stuff. Let's put everything together. I have my antiques. I have other people's junk. I have new things that I bought. I have trash to treasure. I have gathered things around my house. So let's put everything together. Let's decorate and let's get organized. All right, my crafty dolls, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for shopping and crafting with me. I have everything cleaned and organized and put away. I can't wait to show you how it all came together. And I'm going to give you the full room reveal in episode 2. So make sure you subscribe so you're not going to miss out. I'm also going to be talking about my big blue china cabinet that I thrifted. I'm also going to talk about paint colors. So if you're stuck on what color to paint your craft room walls, I have a winning color formula that has worked in my house for 25 years. It's absolutely foolproof. And if you liked my little dollhouse themed prints, these are available in my Etsy shop. I have Home Sweet Dollhouse, and then I have Enjoy the Miniature Things in Life. And of course, I have little miniature versions for your dollhouse. Super cute. Those are over in my Etsy shop. Also, everything I purchased new in the show today, I have listed in the description box below. Guys, make sure you like and share this video because all of those interactions help my channel grow. Let me know if you have found a really interesting thrift find. I love a good story. And of course, if you don't know what to say, you can always just leave me a yellow heart. Happy crafting and happy cleaning, and I am going to see you in part 2. Bye.